In my recent video on whether or not dupe culture is getting out of control, I received a lot of comments basically saying that people just didn't have a lot of money to spend on clothing. And it really made me think, because you really don't need to spend a lot of money on clothing. In fact, you can get really great pieces, high quality pieces at a reasonable price. So in today's video, I am going to talk with you on exactly where and what you should spend your money on when you don't have a lot of money to spend on clothes. For those who do not know me, my name is Adrielle. I'm an American who lives in Paris. Let's get into this. So the overall thing to keep in mind when it comes to what exactly you should spend your money on if you don't have a lot of money to spend is quality. You always want to buy the best quality that you can afford. Why? Plain and simply, when you buy worse quality, lower quality items, it costs you more money over the long run. It is always much more expensive. When I lived in the US, my three main places to shop for quality but at a good price were Nordstrom Rack, TJ Maxx, and Saks Off Fifth. You also want to consider investing in vintage. Vintage clothing is a really great way to get good quality clothing but at a reasonable price. So definitely take a look at the video I did on vintage shopping and what to look for when vintage shopping and to making sure you're getting good deals when you're vintage shopping if you want some tips on how to do that. So the very first place you want to invest your money is in shoes, particularly though leather shoes, and particularly a pair of black leather shoes. The very first place I really spent money on was on a pair of black leather pumps that I got from Michael Kors, and I ended up actually buying them at TJ Maxx. I wore those pumps to work for years, like absolutely years. Those were my go-to shoe for work. And that was it. The reason why leather is so great is because leather can be cleaned, it can be polished, and it can be repaired. Also, it can be easily resold. Once you have a nice pair of leather heels, I would say also make sure you get a nice pair of leather boots, and then also probably a really nice pair of leather sandals. Now, the second place where you should spend your money when you don't have a lot of money to spend on clothing is on a leather bag. I am actually going to show you this. This is the very first leather bag that I ever bought when I started working. It is a leather tote bag. It is from the brand Tahari, and I got it also at TJ Maxx. And this bag has definitely lived a great life, and as you can see, it's still in really beautiful condition. You want to know why? Because, as I said, you can take care of leather items. I have polished this purse before. My dad has polished it for me before. That's how I also learned how to polish, is watching my dad. But this bag, I take very good care of it, and it's easy to take care of leather items. You put a little bit of leather protectant on it. You polish it when it needs to be polished. You store it properly. And voila, you have an item that continues to last. It hasn't disintegrated, it hasn't fallen apart. It's nice quality. Now, the third place you should spend your money if you don't have a lot of money to spend is on a black wool coat. And yes, I'm being very specific. I am saying a black wool coat. And for you today, I have the first black wool coat that I spent money on, my own money, when I started working, and it is this J. Crew coat. This coat design isn't even made anymore. You won't be able to find it. But this is the very first coat that I ever really spent my hard-earned money on. I bought it during law school, I saved for it, and then I purchased this. And as you can see, look at this coat. It's still in really great condition. In fact, at one point, there was a rip in the lining, and I took it to a seamstress, and she hemmed it right up. When you think about coats, you want to always think about the coat is like the first thing that somebody is going to see on you. They're going to see your coat, they're going to see your bag, they're going to see your shoes. So this is why I really believe that quality outerwear, particularly when it comes to a really nice wool coat, these are really great places to start investing your money because they are going to be the first things that people see. And the thing is, even if the outfit you have on underneath the coat isn't expensive, people are going to assume it's expensive because your bag looks nice, your shoes look nice, your coat looks nice. Now, one thing I also want to note is this coat. This is a 100% wool coat that I actually bought from Zara. This coat was made in collaboration with this company right here. It is a wool company, and it's known for producing like wool that's used in coats essentially. Again, this was a phenomenal deal, right? I got it at Zara, I got it for 100 euros, and yet it's 100% wool. Now, is it the exact same quality as this J. Crew coat? No, the J. Crew coat was definitely more expensive if you kind of want to compare the times. However, here's a really nice wool coat that I got for $100, right? And because it's wool, I can take it to the cleaners, I can protect it, I can do all of these things that you can't quite do when something is synthetic. Generally, overall, when you're kind of first starting out and you don't have a lot of money to spend on clothing, I would generally say that you should invest in your accessories. So by that I mean, if you're going to buy a scarf, make it silk or make it wool. If you're going to buy a hat, make it wool, right? You know, otherwise you don't need to spend a lot of money on, for example, a straw hat, right? You really want to think about leather gloves. My leather gloves, all of them, I always purchase at TJ Maxx or Nordstrom Rack. I literally never paid more than like 30, 40 bucks for a pair of leather gloves. Now, when it comes to clothing, where should you invest your money? Should you spend a lot of money in your clothing? Personally, in my opinion, I'm very much of the view of buy the best quality that you can afford. So for example, if the price point you can afford is H&M, then what you should aim to do is buy the natural items in H&M. Think 100% cotton, 100% wool, 100% silk. Invest in those pieces, because even though it's not going to be the top of the line wool or the top of the line cotton or even the top of the line silk, it is still going to be easier to care for and have the item last longer if it's made of a natural fiber. Last but certainly not least, one of the places you should definitely sporadically spend your money, even if you don't have a lot of money to spend, is on accessories or items that truly deeply represent your personal style. So I'm going to show you this headband. I bought this headband when I was in law school. I saw it on Gossip Girl. I absolutely loved it. But this headband was $150, which is crazy. And you might say that is crazy to spend on a headband. 100% you're right. That is crazy to spend on a headband. But I love this headband. This headband is 100% silk, and this headband, I have it cleaned repeatedly. I'm actually about to have it cleaned again. It is my favorite headband. Having a really great headpiece is very much an aspect of my personal style. And so as a result, every now and then, I will definitely 100% splurge on something like a headband or a hat, because those things are just true to the depths of my core of my personal style. Now I'm going to tell you some places where you should never spend your money, especially if you don't have a lot of money to spend, because these are the things that never, ever, ever are like worth it in the long run. First and foremost is cheap jewelry. So think anything made of nickel or plastic. Cheap jewelry, it disintegrates. And when I say it disintegrates, a lot of times you'll have allergic reactions to it because it has random metals in it. Other times it gets scratched easily, it gets damaged easily, it breaks easily, or in a lot of situations also eventually it tarnishes and you can't ever clean it because it's not a real metal. It's one of the reasons why I strongly and firmly believe that you just never spend money on cheap jewelry. And you might be saying, well, I can't afford 14 karat gold. I can't afford silver. Yes, you can. You can get 14 karat gold. You can get, sterling silver. You can get jewelry just like that at Sam's Club, girl. You can get that stuff at Costco. There is no need or reason to be buying cheap jewelry. It is always going to come out more expensive over the long run. Okay, so the second place I would say you should never spend your money, and because it's basically almost always going to be a waste, is on fake leather bags, belts, shoes, anything like that. Leather, fake leather, that stuff will come apart, okay? It will come apart even if you're taking a lot of care of something. It really generally is going to disintegrate. So just don't buy a fake leather belt. It's not gonna last you. Instead, wait, save up, and buy the real leather belt. And the thing is, very often you can find a real leather piece in the same price point as the fake leather piece. The only issue is that you just have to dig for it. You have to search for it. You have to know where to go. The next place I would say that I would strongly recommend you never spend your money on, particularly if you don't have a lot of money to spend, are jeans, okay? The jeans that I received the most compliments on are these ones right here, and I got them for $35 the last time I was in the US, and I got them from Target. Okay, and they're Levi's jeans. I'll never forget, I was once talking to a friend, and the friend of mine said, oh, well, Adrielle, I don't want to buy Madewell jeans because, they're really expensive. And I was like, girl, I never pay more than like $75 for a pair of Madewell jeans. She thought I was spending like hundreds and hundreds of dollars on jeans. Jeans are something that I firmly believe you should not be spending a lot of money on, like, ever. And in keeping with that, I would say that one of the last places you should never spend your money, particularly if you don't have a lot of money to spend, would be on the trendy or hot new item. So, I'm going to give you a perfect example of this. There was a point in time when Hunter rain boots were really trending. Like, everybody wanted a pair of Hunter rain boots. I wanted a pair of Hunter rain boots. But let me show you the rain boots that I already actually had. When I was in college, my grandmother bought me these Burberry rain boots. I didn't need Hunter rain boots. I had these. But I was being influenced by everybody around me. I wanted a pair of Hunter rain boots. And I literally had to say to myself, Adrielle, stop. You don't need 3 or 4 pairs of rain boots. You need a pair of tall rain boots. You need a pair of short rain boots. And that's it. And literally, I never forgot that. I kept telling myself every time I saw somebody with Hunter rain boots, and ultimately was able to keep myself from going out and buying a pair of Hunter rain boots. Because really, how many pair of tall rain boots does one girl need, particularly when you have the Burberry rain boots that your grandmother bought you when you were in college? Last but not least, here are a few final tips on exactly how to spend your money and where to spend your money when you don't have a lot of money to spend. First and foremost, remember that you can turn any fast fashion item into a long fashion item if you take appropriate care of it. Now, I want to note, this really does apply to items that are of natural material. So think cotton, wool, silk. And what I mean by, saying that you can make it last a long time and make it a long fashion item is those are all items that you can have dry cleaned. Dry cleaning is really one of the places where it's going to help you preserve the quality of your clothing. And so it's why I would strongly invite you to spend money on dry cleaning. Spend money on making sure your clothing lasts for a really long time so that you get the best value for what you have, what you've spent your money on. Another thing that I strongly recommend you do if you don't have a lot of money to spend on clothing, and this is something that I always did and I never regretted it, and that is planning out your purchases. Now, I used to be the queen of planning out a purchase. I would see something that I liked at J. Crew and I would put it in the cart and I would wait. I would wait until there was a code and until that item went on sale. And then last but certainly not least, if you do not have a lot of money to spend on clothing, you want to buy items from places that have a good return policy. Places that have good return policies, I'm going to tell you right now, are Nordstrom. Nordstrom has a great return policy. Generally, at least from when I used to live in the US, I found that Macy's actually has a good return policy if you are nice. Like if you don't go in there acting like a crazy person, but you go in there super nice and super sweet, generally those people will work with you in Macy's. If you have not noticed during this video, I have a cold. And so there you have it. what to spend money on if you don't have a lot of money to spend. I would really love if you have any other tips. Please share those in the comment section. I am always, loving to hear more tips. And also I think it's really great for our community if we can just really share what we know, because, this is a wide selection, a very vast community from all over the world, different socioeconomic status, different ages and whatnot. And we can all provide tips for each other on just how we can ensure we're getting the best bang for our buck. So definitely, please let me know if you have any more questions in the comments. Let me know if you want advice on specific brands. As some of you already know, and those of you who may not, I am a shopper. So I love to shop, and I always just have a lot of thoughts on different brands and whether that brand is kind of worth it, whether it's not, whether to get it on sale, that sort of thing. So please let me know if you have any of questions for that. So there you have it. Take care, stay safe, and talk to you again soon. Bye.